Hello, and welcome to another day of English 2. I'm your online teacher, Miss Bear. As a reminder, we have been working on an argument unit about graffiti. Is it art or is it a crime? And so this is part of Unit 6 of the Common Lit 360 curriculum. If at this point your teacher doesn't know what they're doing, I'm sorry for you, but they can go on the Common Lit 360 website or the Common Lit website and get all of the materials for this unit. But if you are starting on day 15, then you need to go back and start on day 1 because today is not going to give you near enough information about writing an argument essay. This unit does need to start from the beginning. It's not one that you can start at the end. So go back to Unit 6, Lesson 1 and follow me or follow the unit through Common Lit. So our essential question for this unit has been, is graffiti a work of art or a crime to be punished? And how do we decide? Yesterday, we walked through a conditional argument. What does that look like and what is it? And then how do we, as students or writers, how do we draft an essay that is conditional? Because our ideas may be that all graffiti is art and should be celebrated. Or your idea may be that all graffiti is a crime and should be punished. But you may be somewhere in the middle that says some of it is art, but some of it is just not art. And so you may have to think about that in that conditional thesis. And that's up to you on how you write this. But sometimes when you're writing an argument, your teacher wants you to choose one side or the other. But occasionally, very occasionally, it's okay to sit on the fence and say, sometimes it's this, but sometimes it's that. And so that's why we walked through that student sample essay yesterday so you can see what a conditional argument looks like from the eyes of a student essay. So you know what that looks like. Now we're going to transition into writing your essay. So what you're going to need today is your Unit 6 essay handout. You will also need all of your research note-taking graphic organizer and a pen or a pencil. At this point, your teacher that's in your classroom may allow you to write your information on the computer electronically, or they may want you to write it on paper. Personally, I like the first draft to be on paper because the creative process just happens better for most students when it happens with a pencil or a pen. I don't know why that is. Psychology. That was not my forte. I loved it, but I can't tell you the why behind it, and that's okay. But that's up to the teacher that's in your classroom. So let's look through this Unit 6 essay handout and what they're asking you to do. First, we're going to look at that essay prompt, and it says, read the essay prompt. Should graffiti be protected? Draft an argument paper in which you utilize multiple sources to provide support for your point of view on this complex topic. Be sure to address whether graffiti should be considered vandalism, whether graffiti can be considered public art, and how it should be treated in each case. So all of that accomplishes that writing standard 1, that argument writing standard. And so in order to make sure that you utilize multiple sources, that's where your research note-taking graphic organizer is going to come into play. And this is what I want to recommend you do. Every time you use one of your sources from your graphic organizer, I want you to take a highlighter and highlight just a tally mark where it says text title. So you can see how many times you use various sources, but you will also see how many different sources that you use. And you do need to use multiple sources because that's what your text and your essay prompt has asked you to do. So think about that. Now let's look at part 2. Part 2 says drafting your essay. Draft your essay in the space provided. If you completed any essay planning activities in a previous lesson, use them to help you draft your response. What are they asking you to do when it says if you drafted any part or portion? Well, yesterday when you worked on that that essay part about conditional arguments, it asked you to write that thesis. You may use that piece. You may use that thesis that you wrote. But also think about when you worked on your debate. All of the information that you collected, all of the things that you used for that part of this lesson can be used to help support your essay. Make sure you pull that out and you use that because, again, you can rely on your brain or you can rely on the brains of everyone in your classroom because you have been collaborating throughout this unit. And I ask you to consider thinking about all of the work that you've put in, not just what you think today and basing it on just kind of what you can pull out of your brain today. Think about all of the things that we have done throughout this unit. Now, once you have drafted your essay or you've at least got some thoughts down on paper, then let's look at part 3. We are going to revise and do a peer review. What does it mean to revise? Guys, we have been working on essays since day 1. If you have been working with me, revision is a necessary part of the writing process. It goes beyond just proofreading and looking for grammatical errors. You need to look at the MAP writing rubric, Mississippi Assessment Program rubric. This is what they are going to be scoring you when you write your essay for the end of course assessment in May. So let's look at those big ideas and what you need to make sure that you have accomplished in your essay in order to score well on that MAP assessment. So development of ideas. Your writing is clear, consistently focused, and shows a complete understanding of the given task. Your ideas are fully developed using logical and convincing evidence from the text and details that are specific, relevant, and accurate based upon the text. All right, that's a big one. Now let's look at writing organization. The writing demonstrates evidence of planning and a purposeful, logical progression of ideas that allow the reader to easily follow the writer's ideas. Words, clauses, and transitions are used frequently and effectively to clarify the relationships among claims, reasons, details, and/or evidence. The writing contains an effective introduction and conclusion that contribute to the cohesiveness and clarity of the response. Then we look at language conventions, grammar, and usage. This is where we look at punctuation and things. The writing establishes and maintains a tone appropriate to the task, purpose, and audience. Word choice is precise, effective, and purposeful. Sentences are fluent and varied in length and structure. I'm going to pause before I go to the next conventions and mechanics because I want you to think about this. Word choice is precise. Guys, we did an entire lesson about that key terminology. You need to make sure that you are using the terminology that these articles and that this unit has provided. It's important, some of that terminology. The idea of tagging, the idea of vandalism. You need to make sure that you use the words that you have learned throughout this unit. All right, and then lastly, here we are with language conventions, the mechanics. The writing demonstrates a consistent command of the conventions of standard English. This is your punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. The writing may contain a few errors in grammar and usage, but they do not interfere with meaning. If you have an essay and your reader can't follow your thoughts, then you've got some errors that interfere with the meaning of what you're trying to accomplish. So make sure that you follow all of those things. Remember we talked about praise, polish, and what was the other one? That's right, question. We praise, we question, and we polish when we do our peer review. So make sure that when you're reading someone else's essay, you're able to praise, question, and polish. Help your classmates make some really effective essays, and I really hope that your teachers send me some of these because I'm really excited about what it is that you write. And that is all that I have for today and this unit. Congratulations, we finished this graffiti unit. And until next time, happy reading and happy writing.